Hello, good afternoon. We've got Jasper Tygner here, who's going to talk a little bit about 3 of his tracks that he's done in Dolby Atmos, but we're going to start off by playing the first one, which is called Blue.
Whoa.
Watch out for that seat. They're real nice.
Oh, the chair's not very good.
They've got longer legs than me. See what I mean?
They are, really. Damn.
So, Jasper, tell us who you are. Introduce yourself.
My name's Jasper Tygner, not Tygner, but
Sorry.
that's okay. Everyone gets it wrong. I'm a producer, composer, multi-instrumentalist, even though I hate calling myself that. Sounds like I'm bragging.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Trombone,
yep. Percussion.
Done my research.
You've done your research.
Apart from your name. Okay, cool. So, I mean, how did you get into producing sort of electronic dance music?
It was a weird one. Like, I started out playing in like youth orchestras and jazz bands,
yep.
and then my friend, this guy Josh, I was like 12,
yeah.
and it was like a break in the orchestra, and he showed me Chase and Status Eastern Jam, which is like a dubstep track, and I was like, I've never heard anything like this in my life. And that kind of just set me on the path of that. And then I remember being about 15, and James Blake's drummer was actually played in the same orchestra as me. Right. And he was like, oh, I'm playing for this guy, James Blake. I was like, who? And then I kind of just went home and found out, oh, this is what electronic music can be. Right. And then just kind of went from there and started producing stuff at around 18 or 19.
And so what were your first steps? How did you find out, like, you found a sequencer or a DAW to use?
I think it was just at sixth form. Right. They had electronic music, and I was like, this might be fun.
Yeah.
I didn't come into it with, like, a real passion for electronic music. I kind of slowly fell into it, and then went to university, went to Guildhall to do electronic music.
Yeah.
And then discovered Burial when I was at Guildhall, and was like, oh, okay. And it's just like,
realization.
Yeah. There wasn't like a lot of people start at like 14, I think, finding it, and then get the first laptop, and that's it. And I feel like I was a bit later. Yeah, but yeah. And
so, I mean, we're not going to get too nerdy, but did you choose a DAW of choice that you go for?
I was Logic.
Okay.
But it's genuinely because I didn't know what Ableton was, and then someone was like, you should use Ableton. And I was like, oh, what's that? And downloaded it, and then I've been Ableton ever since. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Great, cool. So when you're working, I mean, how have you got a particular? I mean, everybody's got their own methods and stuff. You were in the last session, so I was asking Helena about the kind of rules or limitations that you put in place. One thing, as a programmer and musician myself, is I often find that with all of this stuff, especially now, available to you, plugins that do this, that, the other, all these instruments, virtual, real. You've got everything at your fingertips. How do you kind of filter down to get everything that you want? Do you kind of put rules in place?
Yeah, I mean, my rules are also like every Black Friday I'll buy a bundle of plugins, right, and that's it for the year. Right. So I don't really have many plugins, to be honest. I've got like some of the Soundtoys stuff, and then a Valhalla Reverb, and then I use mostly Ableton stock, just because it's all the stuff that I use is outboard stuff. So synths. Okay. I've got Prophet 8, which I bought at second year uni with all my money. Yeah. And then a couple of Moogs and like some Sherman filter bank.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I use. And I've used my Prophet 8 on every single record I've ever made, and it's like the best.
Yeah, it's great.
It's incredible. Yeah. And I kind of like, with every new EP, will buy one small new thing. Yeah. And I think it's much nicer to like really hone in on
the gig,
a couple of instruments.
Wanting more.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's so many insane plugins that do like crazy stuff. But yeah.
And so you're building up from scratch, and I'm guessing, are you mixing as you're going? Is that how you work? Most people do, right?
Yeah. I just mix in my small studio at home.
In stereo, presumably?
In stereo, yeah.
And then, so you're building up towards at what point do you go, I mean, this is the age-old thing when you're doing anything, even writing an email, but at what point do you go, well, okay, that's done? Is it?
Honestly, like, every single track's different. Yeah. So, like, with Blue, that was a kind of day process of like I went in and I got in with this guy called Ollie Baston, who's done like Barry Can't Swim and a bunch of people, and we kind of just made that in about 3 hours, and then he had to go and pick his kids up, and I came home, edited it, and then like a few days later it was done. And I think it's like, it doesn't have to be mixed perfectly, you know. I think when when you can get the emotion over, that's when I'm like, stop. And you can constantly tweak things forever.
And so sort of coming onto the Atmos side of things a little bit. So you got to the end of this process, you'd mixed it in stereo, you delivered to, so actually one question is, you get it mastered by the same person each time? Have you got a particular person that you use for mastering?
We in Atmos?
Yeah, no, in stereo.
In stereo, oh God, who's it? Cass.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
Cass,
cool.
yeah.
And then when you went looking for the Atmos mix, I guess you delivered stereo stems?
Stereo stems, yeah. I think Cass gave the stems, because we do stem mastering. Gave the stems.
Fantastic.
And then I got asked for a bunch of like extra little bits so that the
Atmos mixer could do
even more, yeah, exactly.
Who was Leo Butler, who I believe is at Wired Masters.
Yeah, Wired.
Okay, cool. Fantastic. And you're going to hear the results. So sitting in the sweet spot, what did you think?
Well, it's the first time I've heard it properly in a Dolby studio, and it's like, it's a really weird experience because I'm so used to hearing it stereo and on headphones, and then like I'm hearing things from the back. I'm like, oh shit, that's over there. Well,
it's not been released yet in Atmos. It has been mixed in stereo, so you can always do notes.
Exactly. Right. No, it was really interesting. I think it's like, it's this like dome of sound, which is very different.
Yeah.
And I think like some of the notes we were giving to Leo was just like it's not crazy electronic music, so I don't want to hear things whirring around. It's like just to keep it simple and keep it like sparse, I guess.
Yeah, that's one of the things I think part of what we do is we help producers and engineers and artists and mixers all work in Atmos for the first time. And of course, in exactly the same way as they did in stereo, when you went from having, you didn't have a pan pot originally, it was left or right or both. When you listen to the Beatles, it's that and that and that. And then at some point they realized that people wanted to pan between in the stereo field with mono sources, so they created the pan pot. So when you hear a lot of stuff from the end of the 60s, the beginning of Crosstown Traffic by Jimi Hendrix, there's a guitar that goes da-da-da-da-da, and that's because they were in the studio, the pan pot for the first time. Often with Atmos, you find that somebody mixing an Atmos for the first time just flies everything around.
Yeah, I think I would as well. Yeah. And then you're going, this is unlistenable.
Yeah, exactly. And after a while you go, okay, what do I actually want to do? And that's, it's just a big palette, a much bigger palette than you've ever had before.
Yeah, I think the first time we got it mixed in Atmos, one of mine, this was for an EP previously, and one of my notes was like, I think it's too much.
Crazy.
And I just want things to be, just add the extra 20% that I can't get.
Well, I'm going to be controversial and say, as you were previously a Logic user, you could actually just switch the renderer on in Logic, and you've got all of the access to do it yourself. Or you could use a workflow with Ableton and the Dolby renderer, but we can but hope. We'll get you started that way. So when you've listened to Atmos, I mean, and presumably you've heard some stuff on one of the streaming services. So how do you find, when you hear a good Atmos mix, how do you find that sort of differs to the stereo?
I think it's an interesting thing of like switching between them is like, how do I put this? Stereo then seems a little bit
smaller.
Yeah, a little bit like, oh. And I think that the best Atmos mixes I've heard have just like, you've had this space and it's just enhanced it just enough. And then you go back to the stereo one and you go, oh, I want it back. And I think those are the best ones, rather than the slightly more crazy ones. And especially in film as well. I've seen a lot of film in Dolby Atmos, and it just adds like a spatialness that you usually don't get.
Okay, well, we should probably listen to the next track, which is Phase.
Phase.
Tell us about Phase.
Phase. Well, it's one of the tracks on my album that's going to be coming out next year, and it was written pretty recently, actually, and it was like I've never made an album, and I put all the tracks in a SoundCloud playlist. I listened to it for the first time all the way through, and I went, "There's something missing." Okay. And it was like a techie, producery track that like hits you a little bit, and that was my brief. It was completely different to the rest of the album, but I just wanted something that lifts the whole album. Yeah.
Cool. Well,
there we go.
Listen to the second track, Phase.
Let's do it.
So what else are you doing while you're at ADE? Have you got any shows?
I've got no shows at ADE. I'm here chilling out, basically. Staying with some friends.
Brilliant.
I love Amsterdam. Yeah.
Great. So back to Atmos. We were talking
Yes.
a minute ago. You're Ableton user. You could use the renderer. So you haven't got into that yourself yet. You've been using a third party. But
Yeah.
if things sort of develop further for you and you sort of started using those tools, can you imagine working in a 3D space?
For sure, I think I want to slowly get my toe, dip my toe into some film work as well.
Okay.
And I think because I do a lot of live stuff, and I'm trying to get my musical director to kind of get even just like a 5.1, just so we can, because we did a live show at Earth in Hackney, which has some
absolutely,
and that was amazing doing sound check there and just hearing things flying around. And I think it's especially for the live show for sure. But I think the kind of music I make at the moment, I would need, how do I put this? I'd need more film stuff, I think, to get a system. But I think that the more interesting side of it is for me anyway, is just the regular listening. This is how to get like the AirPods, how to make my mixes sound the best for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's something that, this is a new technology that's come in. It's significantly more complex than going from mono to stereo. There's a lot more to it. However, as part of the ecosystem, for one of a less nerdy word, you've got sound bars, you've got smart speakers. There are, as you heard before, there's 30 brands of cars out there which have all got sort of Dolby Atmos coming.
I think
and then there's the headphones
the cool
as well. So I think as people listen to it more and more and more, people are becoming more sort of, even if they don't even know they're listening to it, exactly as you said, then you hear the stereo and go, oh. Yeah. And, if people are listening to that by default, I think, automatically that would...
Exactly like that. I've, after, when I came to visit you at Dolby in London, and as soon as I left there, I went and got some Apple AirPods, just to be able to reference things and to understand it, because I think it's very different going from stereo to even thinking about more than two channels.
That's it. I mean, and that's one of the things is that actually, those headphones are fantastic. But one of the things is that the Dolby Atmos will work on any headphones. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff within the consumer world that people are a little bit unaware about it yet. And I think that's just changing all the time. I can see a massive ramp up. So, what's your advice for any young person coming into music production? Not necessarily with that where Atmos is concerned, but just what would you suggest as somebody who's been sort of on the scene for quite a while now?
I like to think I've been on the scene quite a while. It's difficult. I think I actually started copying other producers. Yeah. So the way I learned production was I used to try and copy Latch by Disclosure over and over again to try and just emulate what they were doing. And I think that's the way I've done it, is basically to copy other people, not with my music, but at the start when you're learning, is to copy other people. And I didn't know what, synths did. I didn't know what a cutoff on a filter was. Yeah. So I just to hone in on your sound sources. Yeah. And then the next step is to make that original, or try and make it original. And I just went to loads of shows. Yeah. And I think that's the key, is to go and be involved in the scene as much as you can and just go to as many shows as you can. And
were you somebody that would get involved in YouTube clips and trying to work out that way, or was it just...
Oh my God, YouTube holes for days.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I still do. Okay. I think the nerdier side of it never got me as much as the instrumental side, I think. Yeah. So it's I think... Also, lots of people come into it in so many different ways, and some of my friends have done it, really got into synthesis and real techie stuff, and I just, I don't understand it.
Do the thing that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think it's just using what you've got. Yeah. And I love the fact that most of the stuff I've made is on one synth. Yeah. And all the best stuff is made on a tiny amount of equipment, and just because you buy loads of plugins doesn't mean
make you better.
No, exactly, yeah.
Cool. Well, we're sort of coming to the end of this now. We've got one more track to play. Have you got any questions from the audience?
Shoot.
No. Microphone going around? No. In which case,
That's cool.
you're going to go and party, and I've got to go back to the UK to go to a wedding. So,
Oh, gorgeous.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Enjoy.
So the last track is 28 Eyes. Tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, this one was written with these guys called Holy Bones, and we got in the studio like a few months ago, and honestly, this was like an hour and a half, and we had pretty much the whole track done. And then it's kind of like the announcement track for the album that's coming, and it's all about the view of the whole album's about blue hour, so like kind of 4 to 5 a.m. and different people's journeys throughout that hour. So this is coming back from it's slightly ambiguous, but coming back from somewhere on a bus and just like staring out the window. It's blue outside, you're seeing street lamps, and it's brought like trying to create texture with sound, and then they're telling the story of what's around them, who are the people, and then stepping off that bus into the sunlight. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much,
Sweet.
Jasper Tygner.
Thank you.
And we'll play this last track, 28 Eyes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.